We're back to the Inside Scoop Emerald Planet. Here again, your host, Dr. Sam.
Hello and welcome to the Emerald Planet as we come to you on a week-to-week basis as we travel and look at 144 different nations, looking for those 1,000 best practices, technologies, services, and products that are making a difference as we move through the 21st century. And we're going to be talking about an organization that actually exists to take the resources of a internationally renowned university, George Mason University, and be able to create new technologies, products, services, and processes that are already making a difference in countries around the globe. And a gentleman who is the president of the organization just happens to be in the studio with us. This is Michael Schindler. He is the president of the George Mason University Engineers for International Development, goes by EFID, and also the vice president of George Mason University Virginia Water Environment Association. So besides family, working full-time, going to school, and being in two organizations, you're a very busy young man.
Yes, I am.
Now, looking at that, why, with all this going on in your life, why you want to be involved in something like the International Engineers Development Organization?
I think EFID presents a very unique opportunity for me. I've been very fortunate in my past, and this is a good opportunity for me to give back to my community, to the international community.
Well, you really are out of the international community. I mean, you came to the United States out of Germany, yes. Settled here, and have really settled here. Mm-hmm. And so looking at all that and the work that you're doing at the university, how do you think the internationalization of your background coming from Germany, being among a number of international students, has really helped you as far as your profession, because you're working with Fairfax County, going to school here still, but also being very much involved with this Engineers for International Development? How has all that come together for you?
I think my work ethics that have been drilled into me by the German military have helped me quite a bit. I like to work. I like to work hard. Once I set a goal for myself, I usually don't stop working until I achieve it. And I think that was one of the biggest traits that has helped me along the way. Yeah. And I'm not quite there yet, so I still got to keep working a little bit more.
Well, you're still a very young guy. And looking at this photograph here, it's a very active organization that you have, and is actually growing and becoming more active. But looking at this new research project that you're on, this crushed glass filtration research project, tell us about that and why this specifically is so important to where you think things are going as far as the future is concerned.
So working as a project manager for Fairfax County, I have heard of the opportunity to for EFID to get involved with this research. Fairfax County has just bought or built that new glass crusher, and they were trying to find ways to use this crushed glass after it is being crushed. And so far they haven't found anything, but we're trying to help out and using that material for filtration and for bedding material as well. And I'm involved with the filtration part of the research, and we're actually next week getting ready to build our first prototype of the filter, and we're very excited about it.
Well, looking at this equipment, and of course this is part of the overview about all this that's going on over there. Why glass? You were telling me something that I didn't know, and I've been involved in recycling for, well over 30 years. And tell us about that and why that has a particular impact on the environment within the United States and actually the world.
So a very common misconception is that every bottle that you recycle is actually being recycled. That is unfortunately not the case, since it is way more expensive to recycle a bottle and make a new bottle out of it than to create a bottle from silica. Therefore, and also it is a matter of separating the colored glass from all the other colors, because the glass bottling companies, they want nice pretty bottles, and if there's just one bottle that has a different color than all the others, that will ruin the whole batch. So
that's what's so amazing about this, how you could take, you know, a bottle and it'll just destroy a 40-foot container of bottles. I had no idea.
Exactly. So we're trying to help out, and we're trying to find new ways to use that recycled glass.
I see. And looking at this, we had this image up here as far as the processing that glass. Tell us what we're looking at here. What is the technology of all this, and why does it take such, you know, a huge piece of equipment to do glass bottles?
So the machine that you're seeing on the picture is a glass crusher at the Fairfax County landfill. And we were very fortunate, and a gentleman gave us a tour of the machine. And it was very interesting, and the glass is being washed and crushed at the same time, and out comes a product ready for processing. And they, at the moment, have 2 different sizes that they can produce, and it is one that is a little bit more coarse and one that is very fine, almost like a sand, which we will be using for our filtration.
I tell you, this is really heavy equipment, and so this is a real process that's going on here. So looking at this crushed glass filtration research project, where do you plan to utilize this, and why glass and not some other medium as far as filtration is concerned?
So the plan is to come up with a filter device that is simple, that is effective, and we want to build it from materials that are available worldwide. And the plans to that filter we ultimately will make available for free on our homepage, so that everybody can access it and can build that filter for their house, for their wherever it needs to be.
Yeah, you were telling me you're really interested in this as far as filtration systems for housing.
Yes.
And that's really the favorite project you have. And why have you chosen housing and versus, say, commercial buildings or industrial complexes? I mean, what's in that with the housing is so important to you? So
we're about to get ready to participate in a big new project with Association Roncalli. And we are part of building pretty much a new community.
This is in Nicaragua.
It is in Nicaragua.
In Central America.
Exactly. Yeah. And the big, I guess, idea is to implement those filters in those houses, because it would be so effective and cheap to produce. Yeah, and the whole thing about this, too, is that those countries have glass, just like we have in the United States, and needs to be utilized as a medium. But what other mediums are you comparing this to as far as a filtration system? So at the moment, we plan on comparing it to sand. There are already sand filters out there. And we're just trying to find out really how much more effective it is. We have read research studies that state it is more effective, up to 25% more effective than over sand. And we're just trying to back that up before we get into our own filter production. Now looking at this, what types of bacteria or other pathogens are you actually trying to filter out of that? And why is this 25% more filtration that critical and that important? Because sand filters seem to be working fairly well, but you're going really beyond that to the next level. Yes. So the reason why we're thinking about crushed glass is due to the improved filter capacity. It is less backwash is required. So once in a while the filter gets clogged, so you need to backwash it with clean water. So you're actually using clean water to clean your filter. So the less clean water you have to use, the more clean water you have available. Right. Yeah. So, I mean, this is just the efficiency, but also it's a sanitation. And many of these countries, quite honestly, they just don't have that much water as far as potable water is concerned. So in a country like Nicaragua, you've done things in other countries as well. What do you see as far as a desperate need for water for human use and also for animals and even in agricultural production? So if I understand you correct, the need for water. It is great. Water is needed everywhere, right? humans, animals, nobody can survive without water. So it is really, I think, that the most critical resource that we have.
But looking at a place like Nicaragua, you know, you hear about in these countries they have a desperate need for potable water.
Yes.
Why is it so much more acute there? Because you think of it being in the tropics, you have lots of rainfall, plenty of water all around you, but that doesn't seem to be the case.
Yes. I think the potable water supply is just not given. Here in the United States, we're very fortunate, and we just open the faucet in our bathroom and we get clean water. Unfortunately, that is not possible over there. Sometimes families have to walk for miles to have access to a well, and then they cannot be sure that this well water is actually clean. So again, this is where our filter would come in and would provide that insurance to those people.
Yeah, what are we looking at here? This is probably a comparison that's going on within this slide, so tell us a little bit about
so
that.
This is
and we got to be quick because we're just about running out of time.
Good. So this is the first prototype of our filter. It has, on one side it has the sand, on the other side it has the crushed glass, so that we directly can compare the flow rates, the filter capacities, and as a preliminary design, we're going to get ready to build it next week.
Right, and so again, this is pre-prototype as far as what you're trying
so
to do.
It might be changed many, many times.
Well, that's what it's all about. That's why you do all these other kinds of things. Looking at your organization, what do you see for the expansion and growth, not only of the organization itself, Engineers for International Development, but reaching out for other international projects and really applying the skills that you're learning at the university? And we have to about 30 seconds to do all that.
So I think it is very, very important that we continue to get involved internationally and domestically. And I also hope that our student board will stay as strong as it is at the moment. We have very engaged officers, very engaged members, and it's just a pleasure to work with everybody. And I hope that this will continue all the way to 2015.
That's absolutely fantastic.
2050.
Yeah, there you go. And what do you see for you?
For myself, I have great plans. Got
to be quick.
Yes, I want to become a professional engineer. I want to graduate. I want to have a family with my wonderful wife and
change the world.
Change the world is always a good one. Yes.
Michael Schindler, President, George Mason University Engineers for International Development, Vice President, the Virginia Water Environment Association, George Mason. Thank you for being with us as we connect and make the Emerald Planet.